Right then, and welcome to this week's episode of L&L Football.
Bumper episode.
Yes, bumper episode for the midweek fixtures. So if we look at the Premier League action from the weekend, start by looking at Manchester City versus Southampton, probably the biggest game of the weekend.
Southampton's bubbles burst somewhat. Southampton fans have been ecstatic, obviously.
I'd be if
but I think everyone knew this was going to be a really difficult month for them, and City is a difficult game, even with the relative league positions. Obviously now City have overtaken Southampton.
Yeah. But even so, they're still 4 points clear of United, who have now started to secure that fourth place, which is like what we like to see. Yeah, they're taking Arsenal spot. But 3-0, do you feel that's a bit of an unfair scoreline? Or
I think in terms of the game, it probably was, because it was a bit of a smash and grab late on from City.
Yeah,
even with 10 men.
The Lampard and Clichy goals towards the end. I think
Southampton were tired. I think City tired them out, and that's how they won the game.
Do you feel as if maybe City have now maybe brought Southampton back down to earth? They've got a very difficult fixture this week. They've got Arsenal.
Well, as everyone said, they haven't come up against the bigger teams. This is
their tough point.
The test, and they're either going to prove themselves or not. I think they'll have a better chance against Arsenal.
Yeah, I think so too. But I do agree that maybe they're going to have. Even if, say, they didn't beat what we call the top four teams in terms of United, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, if you beat every other team by that team, that still puts you in a very good stead. That should put you, round about in the top six.
But I think they do need to get results at home against the big team, even if it's draws.
With the way they've been playing with the team they've got, you would expect them to get something.
I think City probably deserved.
Yeah, I think on the day City deserved the win on the day.
I think the scoreline might flatten them slightly. Although Aguero should have had a penalty. I think almost being South American goes against Sergio Aguero. Do you think he's got a bit of a...
Well, because of Luis Suarez?
Yeah, well, sort of, because a lot of people have been comparing him to Suarez just without the behaviour issues.
I don't know, maybe, again, if you look at
He is a very similar player. There's quick, small players, often, they go to ground easy.
Yeah.
And maybe that's...
Maybe, and again, in terms of, I feel they're usually sometimes a stigma towards... South American players, especially with the Luis Suarez instance. He hasn't done a great advert for that area for players from that.
And I think almost Sergio Aguero is judged before an incident.
But on the other side of that, you've got players like Alexis Sanchez, very hard worker. If anything,
that's why we want to see the reputation of South American players painted by Sanchez, Aguero, the sort of more honest players,
more humble players. And have Chelsea versus Sunderland now. As I recall, my words from last week were, I can see them doing a Southampton. It's going to be at least 5-6-0.
Well, the thing is, actually, this shows poor research by us, because Chelsea have drawn obviously 2 games before Sunderland against City
and
United away from home.
I remember that game.
And of course, this game was away from home against Sunderland, and they were both after Champions League fixtures. And of course, this was on the back of that win in Schalke.
Yeah, but I feel like.
I know it might be
no disrespect to Sunderland here, but City away, United away, difficult games. Sunderland away, for a team that can put 6 past Everton or so.
There is, I think, an issue with Chelsea after Champions League games.
I feel like with Chelsea, they their depth goes as far as the first 11 and the bench. I feel like past that they don't really have the sort of more average players who could come through and for days like this.
Maybe. But he needs to work it out. Maybe spend in January. But I don't think that's something he's keen on doing.
No, I don't think anyone can deny Chelsea have been easily the best team so far in the Premier League.
But
the results show for that.
A couple of key players injured, they could struggle.
There was a case going into the United game where there was possibly they would have none of them because Remy got injured on international duty. But
Andre Schürrle's very good up front.
Yeah, and Andre Schürrle. Do you feel like he's underrated at Chelsea?
I do. I feel like Andre Schürrle's good enough to play week in, week out in the Premiership.
I feel like with the World Cup he's had and the form he's shown whenever he plays...
Well, I think if he doesn't play more, he could go in the summer. Whether Chelsea would want him to go, I don't understand why you'd ever want Schürrle
I wouldn't want him to go.
But whether they can hang on to him is another.
You'd find ways to get him into the team. Right, so now we have Liverpool, of course, scraping last-minute win against Stoke at home.
It says a lot about our season. That was Snapchatted you.
Yes, you did.
Ecstatic that we actually got a win.
Yeah, I was only
I think credit to Glenn Johnson, really.
To be fair, it is
So
a
criticised
is a
this
very
season.
brave header.
And I think his performance wasn't bad either.
He's come. In fact, he's come out today and sort of said he's preparing for a life after Liverpool in the sense that
Well, he wants to be at a club where
his contract runs out at the end of the season. He's not going to go
begging
for a new
Liverpool
club. I believe those were his words.
Yeah.
And so he's preparing for the fact that I'm being criticised. I'm not going to be offered a new contract. I'm trying to make himself available.
I think he's always been a very honest. The issue with Glenn Johnson has never been his attitude.
No, I don't.
Never ever been his attitude.
No, I don't think anyone can argue that. But it's just, in my opinion,
defensively, he's not
No.
good enough.
If you go to someone, that's like.
It's almost a shame to see him leave. Because
for me, Glenn Johnson's positioning issues are the main issues. Like,
He's
imagine if he was a striker and you went, right, you've got to stand on the penalty area, and then you found him in a centre back position. That's how far Glenn Johnson can get away from his positioning.
Arguably, do better abroad as a wing back. You know, like certainly in Italy
But
and
do you
Spain,
think-
they're fond of the three centre backs and wing back system.
Yeah, but do you think he's got the pace these days? I mean, he's 30 odd. Do you reckon he's got the pace to come
Maybe
back?
not the pace, but I think he's still got the energy to do it.
It'd be nice to see. It's always nice when you see English players go well. Like Michael Richards taking his chance and gone to Italy.
Michael Richards is sort of trailblazing a bit, really.
Yeah, I mean, especially because we're always hearing about how young players are not getting played in the Premier League. Why don't they go abroad? Go abroad, just try it. I mean,
I think
they do. I mean, we have players coming over here.
issue
Why don't we send
before
players back
where
out?
People think that I think someone said that English players are almost scared to go abroad.
But I feel that can benefit, and that would benefit England more by having more players who would be willing to go abroad.
He's a lot older, but Joe Cole did it, and I think was reasonably successful.
They loved him at Lille. I mean, even Joey Barton is a prime example.
Successful, but
Well,
he didn't pick up the lingo so well.
No,
if anyone hasn't seen that clip, it's a couple of years old.
It's everyone's standards Arsene Wenger impression. I do not see the incident.
I don't even know what he was
it was
trying
not
to
a
do.
red card. It was not a penalty. I don't know why I'm doing this.
But yeah, I'm massively encouraged in a way because we actually kept a clean sheet and Mignolet had a reasonably good game.
When is the derby? Man United Liverpool. When is that?
Oh,
I
don't know. But
I have
I'm
a feeling.
terrified.
I have a feeling it's over Christmas.
One of us is going to come back absolutely depressed. Of course, we're going home over Christmas, so we
will have. We've made plans today for an L&L Christmas special,
which will be trying to cover as much of the month
as we
that
can,
we're away as we can.
And predict. I mean, to be honest, we could predict that Sunderland go on an amazing run there at the bottom of the league table by the time we get back. So please don't take our word for gospel when it comes to that. So then moving on, Spurs versus Everton, and again my words from last week. I cannot see Spurs getting anything from this game.
That is a direct quote.
That is,
arguably,
Soldado scored. Soldado scored. Who predicted that?
Arguably, it would have been the smart. It wouldn't have been the smart money to go for a Spurs win.
I feel like last week was the week of bullshit from me. I was watching it back just now. I was like, I can't believe I fucking said that.
Just the Premier League is just like trolling.
Yeah, I know. It's almost like what. Like someone watched this video and went, guys, a little bit of word, right, we've got to fuck this up. But what was it? Well, I said City 2-2.
Morales goal.
Yeah, a fantastic goal.
And then Eriksen's goal.
Oh my god,
Eriksen, what's he doing at Tottenham? We've said this before, but it just you have to question it.
In the summer, Eriksen's gone. Apparently PSG are admirers.
That was actually, I was just thinking PSG could go for it.
PSG are apparently massive admirers of Eriksen.
Lloris and Christian Eriksen belong at better teams than
my god, they do. I feel so
sure. Especially Lloris. I feel especially sorry
for
that
defensive front for him.
Exactly. Last season, when they got absolutely mauled by City, Lloris had a relatively good game. You can't.
It's not when you say that when a goalkeeper concedes 5 or 6 goals.
You can't blame Hugo Lloris for anything there. It's just Tottenham. And it's almost like Tottenham could have the best team in the league and have the same luck and finish in the same position.
Do you feel like, again, they never really recovered from the Bale loss? I mean,
well, I think even with Bale, they relied too heavily on him, and as a team, they weren't hitting the heights.
No, but if you look at the team,
I think the Modric loss was actually arguably hit them harder.
Yeah, in terms of they've never. Eriksen has done a good job of starting to fill that void that Modric left behind.
But he's not the
same player.
The deep player who controls the tempo, is he?
He was always like, I remember because there was quite a few cases before Modric went to Real Madrid. He was linked to United as a full Scholes replacement, and I always wanted Modric to come to United.
I think it would have been a great start. Luka Modric, arguably. I mean, Champions League fine. Who changed the game?
A midfield of Carrick and Modric would have a.
He's a massively understated footballer.
Yeah, in my opinion. Also, the goal he got against United in the Champions League.
I think he really is a top talent.
I mean,
Spurs to finish above Everton now. It's
again,
a tough call.
That is a really tough call. I can't see any of them finishing higher than even.
Bear in mind this is Spurs, so they've just beaten someone quite difficult.
Yeah.
They'll probably go and lose to
yeah.
like next game they have against someone right near the bottom. They'll probably go and lose or draw.
I'm going to say the fact that I can't see either team finishing above City at the moment.
No.
The lower first and second, it's going to be City and Chelsea. Obviously, I think it's going to be one of those two. I think everyone's resigned to that fact. Third, fourth, and fifth are the places that are sort of.
And they're really, it's really actually at the moment really quite difficult to pick out and put in place who you think is going to finish right.
I think, again, in terms,
it'll depend on who has the best Christmas period. I think.
So it's a case of waiting to see what happens, really. So if we look at the score predictions from this weekend, Rory currently was on the lead and won with 10 points.
So
and I lost with 8. It was
2-0 to me.
Yeah, all right. There's still a long way to go in the season yet. All right. By the time we get back, by the time this is all over, I will have won this competition. Liverpool will have been relegated. United will be crowned champions. It's all good. So if we look ahead to the games coming up midweek, there's only really 2 that caught our eye in terms of should be good.
Yeah, it should be proper clashes though. I think exciting end-to-end football is in store.
Yeah. So if we go to look at Chelsea versus Spurs, London derby as always.
Massive game.
I feel like Spurs usually turn up to derbies, even if their form isn't fantastic. You usually expect
they usually turn up to derbies, but not against Chelsea.
No, and
their recent record against Arsenal is relatively good.
Yeah.
Their recent record against Chelsea is not good.
I think it's a quote from Frank Lampard who said it's always horrible losing to Tottenham because they'll be making DVDs about it for the next 10 years.
Spurs fans in response sing the song 10 Men Went to Lift Frank Lampard.
Oh, yeah.
10 Men and a dumper truck went to lift Frank Lampard.
And Chelsea a little bit frustrated with 0-0. Could this be a time for Tottenham? Imagine if Tottenham were the team to derail Chelsea.
I think if anyone
and make that first defeat.
If anyone is going to get that Chelsea team, over just Mourinho will have them just ignoring what happened on the weekend, and they'll go straight into this game as hungry as ever. It's at Stamford Bridge as well.
I mean,
I can't see Spurs getting anything out of it.
Remember what happened when I said that though last week? You never know what can happen.
Soldado scores and the world turns upside down.
I know, Jesus. I think with Spurs, I'm going to say they have a chance. Not necessarily to win,
sticking his neck on the
but
line.
To get. I did last week; it backfired. But hopefully, I'm going to say they have a chance to draw if they work hard and perform as a unit.
They don't have enough in midfield or defence
or anywhere really.
No.
Goalkeeping is the only position where they're sound.
And Hugo Lloris is but one man up against a rampant Chelsea tackle, though not against Sunderland.
No. Costa, fantastic striker, dickish personality.
Yeah, well,
we saw the Tim Howard.
That's what you don't. That's what I don't like about strikers or any players coming in from Spain, is that in Spain that is just part and parcel of the game. The petty fights and the disruption and the diving is just, watching Spanish football is really frustrating as a football fan because it stop, start.
Yeah.
And I think Costa is a master at winding defenders up.
Yeah. We saw it when Seamus Coleman letting that own goal against Everton. Of course,
exactly.
He went up and went.
And of course the thing with Zabaleta got sent off.
Yes, I mean
he can't stop himself from getting involved, and I think it should really have come back to bite him here.
But it has in a way. I mean, he's been suspended one way or another, and it's good. It's good to see that he's not going to play today. So then the other game we saw, Arsenal versus Southampton.
This is going to be a massive clash.
This is
absolutely massive.
If Southampton maybe a little bit disheartened from the weekend, and Arsenal
again, I think they just have to try and put it behind them and go for it. Obviously won at the Emirates already this season.
Yes, of course, with Nathaniel Klein's wonder strike in the Capital World Cup,
and Sanchez's free kick in that game was outstanding.
Yes, I mean, I should have watched that game and go, well, no one's going to beat that. Oh wait, he did.
Nathaniel Klein just steps up.
I know.
But,
I think That's a close one to call.
Southampton really just have to write off. It's a bit of an anomaly of a result against City. Just write it off. Probably should have lost that 1 or 2-0.
But I thought Arsenal game comes back. Of course, West Brom put up a good fight. I mean, for the weekend.
Yeah, Arsenal to go to West Brom and win 1-0. I know we said it wasn't an easy game, but that's not a result that they'll be shouting from the rooftops. Is it?
That's not a convincing result.
And it took them, an hour to get a breakthrough.
Yeah, I think.
And obviously, 1 goal.
Yeah, and we know what Southampton could do to teams. So I think that one's. I think if there's.
I'm expecting a good game.
Yeah. No, so that's going to be 2-0 this. Always the way it works. Remember what I said, what was it, last week? QPR Leicester going to be the most dull game ever of the weekend.
Charlie Austin strikes again.
3-2.
Good lad, Charlie.
Oh. But anyway, we'll now move on to the predictions for the weekday, so if you'd like to go first. So we have very little time due to fact, we're going to have to quickly whiz through these predictions.
Right, Chelsea Spurs.
Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0.
Chelsea 3, Tottenham 0. Arsenal Southampton.
Southampton 1, Arsenal 1.
That's what I've gone for as well. Right, Burnley home against Newcastle.
Newcastle 2-0.
Newcastle 1-0. We're going close to this one. Palace Villa.
Palace 2, Villa 1.
Ooh, Palace 2, Villa 2. Leicester Liverpool.
Liverpool 1, Leicester 2.
Nah. Liverpool to scrape it 2-1. United Stoke.
United 3, Stoke 1.
That's what I've gone with as well. 1-1 is what I've gone for between Swansea and QPR.
QPR 2, Swansea 1.
Ooh, Charlie Austin. West Brom versus West Ham.
West Ham 2-1, West Brom.
Ooh, West Brom 0, West Ham 2. Okay, Everton versus Hull.
Everton 1, Hull 1.
Ooh, controversial. I've gone with 2-1 to Everton. And finally, Sunderland versus City at the Stadium alone.
City 1, City 1, Sunderland 0.
Ooh, City 3, Sunderland 0 is what I've gone with.
Half those predictions were panic predictions. I was like in my head, I was like, shit, think of a number.
Okay, well, there you go. We'll rattle through those.
It's going to be quite fun when we have to look this back and actually mark these down. So we will look forward to seeing how these weekday games go.
We will update on Thursday.
Thursday or Friday? You expect?
Yeah, Thursday or Friday with our
weekend
midweek review / weekend predictions.
Yeah, preview.
Just one continuous cycle.
I know. Wait till we do the Christmas special. I mean, God, that's going to be like half an hour worth of footage. I mean, if that. Right. So until next time. Goodbye.
See you later, guys.